Hello and welcome to Live Code Happy Hour for July 31st, 2020. I'm Andrew Barnes, and our merry band of folks here today are going to do some ServiceNow live coding. We've got some guests today, so let's get right into the introductions, and we'll start with Brad. Brad.
Hey everybody, I'm Brad Tilton. I'm a developer advocate with the developer program here at ServiceNow. I've been developing on the platform for about 12 years, specializing in kind of front-end experience, custom apps, that sort of thing.
Awesome. And Shuvjit, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Shuvjit Mishra and I'm a principal product manager on the platform Developer Experience Group, and I own the ProDev Tools Charter in ServiceNow. And I've been with ServiceNow for 2.5 years now.
Awesome. We're excited to have you today. And your engineering partner, Mudit, introduce yourself.
I am Mudit Sharma. I work as a senior engineering manager for ServiceNow. Been here. Okay.
Yep, Mudit, we lost most of you there. Shuvjit, why don't you introduce Mudit for us? No? Shuvjit, could you introduce Mudit for us?
Yeah, sure. Mudit is a senior engineering manager and he's my engineering counterpart for the ProDev Tools team. And we together own the product script editor, debugger, and the VS Code extension.
Awesome.
Those are the guys you want to be friends with.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the ProDev team. So the product manager and the engineering manager, and Chuck.
Taking up the rear. It's the ABCs of live coding happy hour and guests. I'm Chuck Tomasi, senior developer evangelist at ServiceNow. Been here for 10 years, customer for a couple of before that. And if you want to go into the Wayback Machine, I've been a software developer of some sort since the early 80s. So just after the vacuum tube era.
Awesome. So I'm Andrew Barnes, also developer advocate here at ServiceNow, along with Brad, and been on the platform for 6 years now. Been at ServiceNow for just about 2 years, coming up here on my my anniversary here in just a moment. Have been doing live coding on the show for almost 3 years now. Love developing on the platform, doing things for development at scale, integrations, and just excited to be here today. Normally we have this show at our happy hour time, and we introduce our alcoholic beverages. Us in the US, it's way too early for that. But we'll go around the horn and introduce what we're drinking this morning for us. And hey, if the India team has brought tasty beverages, I hope y'all enjoy them too. So around the same order, Brad, what are you drinking this morning?
I am I'm drinking some coffee out of my Rockets mug. Today is the first game of the restart for the Rockets. Go Rockets.
Good luck.
Go Rockets. Shuvjit, what do you have today?
I just finished my ginger tea before this call.
Ooh, ginger tea. Mudit, what do you have to drink today?
Oh, I love having my tea, so it's tea all the time.
What is it? A particular kind of tea? Do you make your own blend? What?
No, I like it like quite plain, just with a little bit of sugar, a little bit of milk. So
Okay.
typical desi types.
And what do you have, Chuck?
I'm
in
also
in
joining
your
the tea
koozie?
crowd. I have a licorice tea, I think. Yeah, that's what it
Ooh.
says. And I've also got a slug of water.
I've got an orange mango sparkling water.
So that's
Yummy.
a virgin screwdriver?
Awesome. So it is Paris release time, and we are going to highlight. So we're sort of pairing these things together so that if you caught the blogs this week, Brad did one on the script debugger console that was added in Paris, and I did one on source control around the global application bundling and the Delta loading for scoped apps. And so we have some use cases for those things in our applications that we'd like to work on today. So the first thing we're going to do is we've got one of the main apps that we run our program on for us as the content team is our artifact manager, which helps manage the show and does the automation there. And we've been merging that with Chuck's community live stream app on previous shows, and we'll continue to work on that. Today, what I wanted to do is we have a few, not very many, but just like I think 3 global files that there was just no way around having those global files for this purpose with Artifact Manager. And I'd like to create a global app bundle for those, get them into source control, and then highlight the Delta loading from source control, either for that app or for our base Artifact Manager app, because I've uploaded a new version to source control, and we can pull that down into a different instance and watch that Delta loading. Then after that, we're going to we have comments on the blog, and right now we're collecting in Artifact Manager the number of comments, but we're not actually collecting the comments. And I'd like to get those messages there in a related list to the artifact, and so we can see those messages and take action on them. Because sometimes some of those comments slip through the cracks because I don't notice them. So I want to get that centralized in one place. And in order to do that, we're going to take a look at how we're doing that by inspecting the code that's running that through VS Code, which is also something that Shuvjit's team owns, and then pull it up in the script debugger and walk through it and see where we need to make changes in order to move from getting a count to getting messages. So it's an aggressive plan, and we're gonna plow through it. And then at the end, we're going to have some question and answer session. So if you've got questions on the pro developer experience, so the script editor, the script debugger, the console edition, the session, what is it? It's the session logger. There's a better name for it
Yeah.
though.
Is it session
You are
debug
right. It's
or
session
session
log.
log? Oh.
Yeah, session log.
Session log.
I guess
and
Shuvjit
VS
would know.
Code. Yeah, he would. I'm bad at names of things. I just know what it does. And the VS Code extension. So if you have any questions for that, go ahead and put it in the comments now, or and as we get there, and then we'll talk about those live on the show when we get there. So I will start the screen share now, and we will get rolling. Pick the right desktop. There we go. And let's get rolling. So I'm in one of our instances that we've upgraded to Paris, and I'm going to move right into Studio, and I'm going to create a new application. Oh, what are the odds that I've enabled the property?
Slim to none, because it's not on by default.
I think Chuck is right.
Oh, they put the splash screen back.
Chuck is right. So
this is a good lesson. You want to know where this
I
is?
am hilariously going to go to the blog for this because I know that the property I need is in here.
That's a better idea.
I know where it is. It's very easy to find.
That's Delta loading. You still need to turn on the other one to show the.
Oh, did I grab the wrong one?
Yeah, you grabbed Delta loading.
That's Delta loading. I need the. Should be near here. There it is.
There. Yeah, I knew it was SNG app something.
So this will be a new system property. It's not loaded into the system at all.
You don't want to do that in a scope.
Good. I have literally done this property with this error before.
Yeah. Now, I haven't done that property, but I've done other ones going, how do I get the scope out but still get the property in there?
And I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And then I went to the properties list and looked at the name, and I was like, "Oh, that's why it's not working."
Your clue is
because the name was prepended, prepended with the scope, and that was clearly wrong then. All right, so let's reload Studio, and we'll get that property to be able to offer up this. Because this is a global app bundle and there's a handy dandy warning there. So this is artifact manager. And I'm not wild about this, but I'm going to put something like global here. I know it's global, but I don't want to see two things in the picker that are the same name. And we're going to just drop right into Studio.
And go claim some stuff.
And we're going to go claim some stuff.
This is like that scene in A Christmas Story where the kid is going, "That's mine.
That's mine.
Whoopee,
that's
true."
So there is I believe that there are 2 script includes. So let's go. I'm not creating an application. I'm grabbing an application, which is add existing files. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. If you've got an update set, that is a really easy way because you can just choose that update set. We are going to have to go to a script, include, and then do a search here for, I think actually the list view is going to be my friend here. Because I don't remember their names. So I'm going to get rid of admin. I'm going to only show global. Then I'm going to group by, updated by. And find, there's Dave's. I need that one. And then Josh's. I need these 3. So here's the name. Bam. Really? That's the name. It's global. Script include.
This is search by table. That's odd. What is that doing for us or doing to us?
This is narrowing it down to the script include table.
Do you have to hit continue?
Oh, God, is that really?
I just know the list is showing things that are not script includes, but it's still doing that, it looks like.
All right, we're going to go by name because I've got the name handy.
I like that better.
And others too.
I don't know why it's revealing 2 of them, but I'm going to go with the newer one.
usually my thought as well. Show XML. Which one do we want?
Yeah. Which one do I want? I
This
want
update
Dave's
on
on
2018.
218.
That's the one we got.
Add.
Okay.
All right. So we got one file. Yay. Let's get the others. This one's just called rest. That is a terrible
Lovely.
name. Oh.
Hopefully it's unique.
No. Okay. There's got to be a better way to find this.
Mhm.
I'm legit about to push them into an
Can
update
you-
set so I can choose the update set.
Looks like you can filter it now, maybe? No.
Oh, this is killing me. How about script include?
Mm.
So that seems to have helped a little, but not got the one I want.
What is the filtering on?
Well, right now it's clearly filtering on
File type.
file type.
Okay. Let this be a
Well-
lesson. Give your script includes good names.
Well, so I think you get the point. is most people will have these in update sets, and you can use the update sets, and that makes it way easier. But let's go ahead and create our repo, get it linked up, and then move on. And I'll go get those other two stuffed in there. So we want artifact manager globals. That seems like a fine name.
Sure.
Let's go.
What was that comment about the update set? If you've already got an update set, you can import them and then they show up as claimed
Yes.
objects? Okay.
So you can choose them from that list. So
Ah,
if you've got an
the
update set
okay.
like
Okay.
this one, and hit continue, it'll load all of those files from that update set, and then you can just click the ones you want.
That's a nice feature to migrate people off of update sets.
It is. So copy. We'll close these three.
For a minute there, I thought you were saying if I did this with update sets, it would be way easier. I'm like, what? Wait. What?
Good call out there. Because if it wasn't clear to you, then
It's
then
still
we didn't
6
make it
a.m.
clear enough.
Still 6 a.m. for me. I get an excuse.
Do I have GitHub credentials on this instance yet? I don't know that I do.
Probably not. Probably not. So
was
this is new also to Paris. Is the GitHub is using credentials from the credentials. You don't just type in your username and password anymore.
Yeah, I think it's Orlando, but you're directionally correct. As it is a new feature. So let's get some basic auth. And let's get a GitHub password. Go. Now,
Curious about that tag field, but we'll come back to that later.
link to source control.
Drum roll, please.
It feels so great to be able to link to source control with global. just feels like coming home. Like that just feels great. So over here,
It still feels a little dirty just working in global to me.
I don't have a choice about that.
I know there's
But-
times when you gotta.
Like this in particular, this script include for the OAuth client
Yeah,
handler.
that has to be there,
It
unfortunately.
has to be in global. Like it just won't work if it's not. There's nothing special in here, but the client and credentials table for the application registry entry that uses it just doesn't run them correctly if it's not in global.
Well, unless we can get Josh to, fix the way we do headers or something so we can inject the right things in without that special script.
So that is global app bundling, getting it into source control. And then the next thing I wanted to show in source control was the delta loading. And I've got a couple of choices. So I've got a fresh version of Artifact Manager pushed into our repo for that. And we could load that into our dev instance.
Yeah, see if it blows away the data or not.
Yeah. So if I switch over to, and the reason for this is there have been some things with our Artifact Manager that we've had some issues with moving them from dev to prod. So we've had to do stuff in prod. So prod is actually our current most updated version of our Artifact Manager. And I want to make dev now correct and up to date and sync them and then use dev from now on that we can use source control properly for these things. So let's switch over to Artifact Manager in our dev. And then we are check out our source control. That is not the right one, actually. Huh. Okay. So that is not the correct, that's not even the correct connection. Let's do a different one then. How about I just switch the branch that this one is connected to? That'll show effectively the same thing.
You have
we got a
branch.
Got some changes, which is fine. We don't have another branch. Ugh. Well, this is clearly something I need to resolve, as this isn't pointing at the correct repo. But the test instance should be test.
Not something you normally do is go modify stuff on test.
Test, yeah, test is a fresh clone. So it should be a fairly up to date and able to show this for us. So let's choose Artifact Manager. It's a pretty beefy app at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's validate we're logged in. Might have timed out. Oh, there we go. Sweet. And it's linked to source control. Or not. It thinks it is. Come on, man.
Huh.
Why are you giving me a
Did we
hard time?
change the schema on that?
I think that might just be something that didn't move in the clone.
Mm-hmm.
Is the connection to source control. All right. Well, we're going to have to show this a different way then. Ideas? Come on, help me out, guys. Just make it.
You want to show the delta load right now, right?
Yeah, I want to show the delta load.
Okay. And if this isn't on source control, do we have anything that is connected to source control on test?
Well, if this one didn't come over, then none of them would. Here, I'll just pull in something. Import from source control. And then I'll switch branches. So if I go to GitHub and pull down something like one of my labs.
Because we know that one.
I know this one. So let's get this one. And we'll pull it down. We'll do test. Import from source control. And I don't have credentials here. Well, we can uninstall it from dev. It'll be fine. Here, pull down master, use this, import. So this will get the master branch, but we do actually have some other branches here. And we'll wrap this up pretty quickly.
Starting to think my credentials table may want to be on IDR.
Interestingly enough, you make a joke about that, but all of the automation for the CI/CD stuff, for doing stuff from source control, relies on the repo being set up in the instance that it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't, for example, say initially load an application in another instance from source control without the repo already being set up. So I have been thinking about how I can push the repo credentials and setup to other instances because I need that.
Yeah, you got to be for the repo credentials potentially, but you may have. I wouldn't do the entire credential table because your dev instance may be talking to dev.
Yeah, no, I just want specifically the
Yeah.
repo credentials.
Yeah.
So let's put a piece of data in one of these tables and then switch branches. So there's already one packaged with the app, but we can create a new entry for a new suite and say item. So our expectation is if I switch my branch, so right now I'm on the master branch. If I switch branches and I come back to this ATF to apps, as long as this table still exists in that other branch with these fields, my record should still be here because we're doing delta loading.
We've had destructive branch switching for so long. I am very nervous about this.
It seems to have loaded.
I'd be the guy doing an export XML on all my tables before I tried this the first time.
Ooh, I want to know what the view details is. Oh, there's some claim outcomes to review.
Ooh,
Hey.
okay.
If you don't know what that is, read the blog from this week. So here's the import details, and it'll say whether or not it has been changed, or unchanged, or deleted. So this disposition here seems so brand new, updated, deleted, or unchanged.
And a priority too.
And then this claims outcome is an important process for if multiple files have claim. If an application file has a claim from more than one application scope. All right, so hopefully all of that worked. And when I load this list view, I have two entries. Let's see. I do. Oh, happy
All
day.
right.
Awesome.
Can we clap?
We can clap.
I tried to give you a Mario coin, but the sound isn't working.
So that is, I really wanted to get the artifact manager one synced up, but I there's issues there. So I will do that offline. So that is the end of the source control stuff I wanted to get working this morning. So the next thing that we talked about earlier was on the developer blog, which we have handy dandy
There we
open
go.
right here. Ooh, Mario Corn.
I had the wrong output. Sorry.
So on the developer blog, there is a place to leave a comment, and obviously to read the comments if there are some. I believe that Brad's article from Tuesday has some. Look at that. It does. So, and we have a way in our artifact manager to go and get those messages counts. So if we go, why did I go to knowledge? I want artifact manager, not articles. Ooh, it's early. It's early. Not as early as it is for Brad and Chuck. But it's
Chuck has me beat by a good deal.
He's only. Oh no, you are 2 time zones even. You're West Coast.
I'm currently on Pacific time, or Pacific time is currently on my time zone because Arizona doesn't change. You guys all jump around. I stay where I am. And if we wait much longer, Upside Down Andrew will have us all beat.
He will.
It's still his Friday, he says.
Barely.
So somewhere there's another field on artifacts for the comments count. I don't see it on this view, but it's there. And we've got an outbound REST message that is what's the enabling feature for that.
We need to add that to our spoke.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there, Chuck.
I'm getting there too. I got a few other things I want to add to your spoke.
So
this may already get the comments and just count them.
It does.
Okay, so we've got the content. We just need to save it somewhere.
Right. So here is our outbound message to the developer site to get the comments. So this is a very simple get.
Oh, I thought you were getting them from YouTube comments.
No, sorry. This is from the blog.
Okay.
This is blog ones.
Gotcha.
But same use case, right?
Yep.
Is we want to get the comments from our content so that we can see them, that they need some responses. Excuse me. So let's go get some comments. And I'm going to actually throw in a different entry here. So let's switch over to Artifact Manager. Let's get this post. And I probably just need the post part, right? Yep, I do. So here. And boop. And let's test this. It didn't work. It's probably an auth issue.
Or is it your parameters were encoded?
I suspect that it's an auth issue. I don't think we have the credentials for the dev instance to connect.
Authentication.
But let's test it without changing the test value. All right, good. We've got some comments. And let's test it after we change the... Oh, this one is... Oh, no, it took me away. I got excited. So... Oh, looks like this has index.html on the end of it. I don't know why.
That's annoying, but
I'm going to do whatever the example has.
If it worked before.
Hey, look, there's some comments.
Okay.
Now let's go switch back to this one and see if that was the reason. Because as you noted, there is no authentication. And then oh, look.
Ta-da. Okay.
Ta-da.
Answers that question.
So how does this work? Well, let's go take a look. And this is where we're going to take a look at using some of our ProDev tools. So this is a script include that is calling this web service, which is, so I'm in VS Code now, and we have a VS Code extension. The latest version, I think, is 1.4, which has added some quality of life improvements around getting set up and interacting with global, and some other really nice comparator things. It's really good update. So if you haven't updated, go tell your VS Code to update. And we've got a script include that is being called for the dev blog utils. So this script include is how we're getting that read count and comments count. And you can see we are calling that get blog comments outbound REST that we were just looking at. And it's a, pretty straightforward. We're getting the the count of them, which is pretty funny. So what I thought would be interesting is if we ran this in a background script. So we saw how we could do this from the our session in the traditional ServiceNow instance interface, and we could hit that test button. But if I want to test both the REST, outbound REST, and my script, I can do it from loading up the script itself, and then executing it in a background script once I pass it some parameters. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to scroll up here to the top to our background scripts area, and I'm going to make a new one and paste it in here. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I need to set this post parameter, which we can see here in dev blog utils. So I'm passing this function post, and probably need to also set count. So I'm actually going to grab from here all the way down to count, throw it in my background script here.
Yeah, because otherwise you can run it directly from the code, right? You don't have to put it in.
Yeah, if I hadn't had to set a parameter, you're exactly right. I could have just right clicked and said run in background script. But since I need to pass it a parameter, I am pulling it up in here and saying var post.
I have not done this.
Equal to.
I have not gone under the script background script section. This is interesting.
And gone and grabbed our post, this thing, index.html, and let's throw this. Bada bing. Does that roughly look right? Roughly looks right. Oh, what the heck? Let's just print it out. We'll do an info message.
I was going to say, don't go legacy on me.
I think we're in scope, right?
Count. All right, that roughly looks like a thing I can run. So let's run it. Run background script in current. And current is, no, I think I want to run it in global. It's not part of the active. Okay, we'll run it in. I don't understand.
I'm not referencing current anywhere.
What am I doing wrong?
Wish I could tell you.
Oh,
Well,
I was in Chuck's application. I think.
Oh, no, you're in Artifact Manager. You're under the Artifact Manager hierarchy.
No, but I was in Chuck's.
Oh.
Yeah.
See this current application changed to artifact manager because the current was yours.
Oh, you got to keep an eye on the bottom. Gotcha. Okay.
So the count is 4. Is that what we believed it to be? I believe the count on that blog was 4.
I think so.
Yeah. That's some victory. So what I'd actually really like to do is now see the response body and see how hard it is to turn that into some records in our instance.
Easy. I think the more challenging part is changing around this method, the script include method, to return that and not impact the others. Or dare I say it, copy this one and make one that says get comments. So it's not just get comments.
Yeah, I would just get comments and then have get comments be able to set the count too, like if I need. So let's take a look at our response body. So let's just log the response body too. Response body is.
This is when I start thinking I could have written an action for this by now.
Absolutely, I could if I knew all the things and it was simple enough. I could have done that. It's an object. Yeah,
that's not surprising.
Yeah, so we want to
JSON
stringify this. Yeah.
I swear I'm going to make a macro for that someday. JSON.stringify. I do it so much, which probably means I'm not using the debugger enough.
All right, and throw in extra parentheses, and we should be reasonably good to go. Run.
Ding. Okay, so
Ding.
inside of result, we have a results.result.comments. I would have done the comma null comma 4 thing to get it a little more readable.
So, Shuvjit, how should we proceed from here? Do you think it would be valuable to continue, working this from our background script? Or is there an opportunity here to use our script debugger and maybe even invoke the console to work on this inside the ServiceNow instance?
Yeah, I think let's do it, Andrew. Like let's invoke debugger and then we can show a quick demo of the console.
All right, let's do that then. So in order to do that, I need to go to that script include, which was called dev blog utils, something like that. Blog utils. And we want to, set a breakpoint somewhere in here, which, why not like right about there? And then we'll set another one. And then I'm going to set one right at the end. The reason I'm setting 3 breakpoints is because sometimes I really accidentally hit play and I don't want to leave.
Yep.
I've done that too. I like your philosophy.
And so I just set a couple of extra breakpoints. If I do actually want to resume, hitting play 2 or 3 times, no big deal. If I didn't want to resume, but I accidentally clicked it, it's really annoying.
Put them on every line, then your play just turns into a step.
So I set some breakpoints, which will allow me to invoke the script debugger, but I still need to execute a call that's going to do this. Yeah. So I need to either throw a new call into a background script or find the thing that invokes this and invoke it. So which would y'all like to do? You want to just fire up a background script and, create a new.
Let's do that. It's a common way of unit testing. So let's just do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't know if the way it gets invoked is something that we could debug anyway.
Yeah, in a background script or who knows where.
All right, so we need a
Same thing you just had before, right?
blog.
You could start the same way with your couple of variables that you had in the editor.
The only thing that I need for the editor is this line.
Post. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's grab
The
that.
rest of it's actually in the script include.
Yep. And then we can just instantiate a new dev blog util.
I had it copied in my thing, but I went
Sorry,
away.
I made your buffer go away.
And I really don't remember the exact name.
It's right there on the side.
Because I have no memory.
His dynamic RAM refresh is low.
And then blog util dot, and the method is get comment count, and we're going to pass it in. We'll do it down here. Post. All right, have I done anything egregiously not right? Feels roughly right.
We're in the right scope. Everybody's happy. Good.
All right, let's run it. Oh, we need to.
What is that new checkbox? Execute as scriptlet.
Andrew and I had a conversation about this the other day.
You're getting more checkboxes on here. We're going to have a full-blown dev environment on Scripts background.
You've got some laser eyes there, Chuck.
Hey, when I was a kid, there were no checkboxes.
Oh. So just really quickly, that is a feature that is enabling some stuff in Quebec that got into Paris that is actually not getting we don't have any use for it directly, like nothing in the platform is using it, but the idea behind the scriptlets is a JavaScript sandbox that has none of the regular ServiceNow stuff loaded into it.
Okay.
So it's just a pure JavaScript execution area that's isolated and doesn't load any of the ServiceNow JavaScript stuff into it.
How's that different from executing sandbox?
That's a sandbox from, so the sandbox still loads the ServiceNow area, like the ServiceNow glide record script stuff, but isolates it from other like running scripts. But the scriptlet isolates it from everything.
Okay.
Is my rough understanding.
So
I
in
haven't used
Paris,
it yet.
I don't know if anybody is old enough to remember Rich Hall. He had a book called Sniglets, and I think he did this on Not Necessarily in the News, old sitcom show. There are funny words that are made up for other things, like the way you eat a taco and you have to tilt your head. That's called a talk angle. But he had one for a switch that you have in your house that controls nothing. It was called a flarp switch. So that effectively, execute as scriptlet in Paris is a flarp switch. One of my favorites. Somebody just pointed this out too. It's still on one of the Grammar Girl podcasts from years and years ago. If you see an asterisk at the like in a document, but there's nothing at the bottom to tell you what the asterisk is about, that's called asterexasperation.
Tidbits from Chuck.
Random stuff you hear on Live Coding Happy Hour, and we're not drinking today.
And we're not even drinking today. So I have executed my background script. It gave me the prompt to say, hey, you appear to have some breakpoints along this execution path. Would you like to start debugging? So I pulled up the script debugger, which is also where the session log lives, is in the same interface. And we might even have some more future things coming along there. And now I can do things like I can go ahead and get that response status code, and then I can execute this JSON parse, and that should allow me to.
But even cooler,
this results object now is a parsed object, which is nice.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. See, this is so much easier to read than that blob we printed out, right? is I can actually see the structure of this object and say, oh, we have 3 things in it. It's author, text, and time.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Like that's useful information that I didn't have before. Because, you know, when I had just a blob in VS Code of this, it was not very easy to tell that that's what is contained in these. So that's very handy. Now that I have that information, I could do something with it. So for example, I could start to and even execute some new JavaScript that would create the entries in my target record from this data. So I can come down here into this new area, the console, and I could create a new glide record object, blog comments, new glide.
I mean, you can just output the values of variables if you didn't see them on the side. You could just type in current.number and it'll spit.
Oh, I
out.
could, but I can
Yeah.
see these. And so what I might want to do is like actually take those objects and put them in glide, you know,
Right.
store them where I want to store them. And so we actually don't have a table for this. So I'm just going to say comments.
The other one, nice one is if you want to evaluate an expression, like you could literally cut it out of the code above and paste it down here and go, is this evaluating to true or false and why or why not?
And I could do, you know, an initialize.
Shift enter. New record, not initialize.
And
New
then,
record.
Yeah, it's true. New record. So I get the
You get the default values.
defaults, comments, and then I can start to
You
set
got a typo in there. You got
comments.
I think that's a medication my dad takes.
And then I could, for example, go and get the first object in my array and get the author and set that value in a record. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pause it here so that we have some time for our Q&A. But this console allows me to, you know, add things into my execution. So this is in the same execution path that this script is in. So it's the same session and execution here. So anything I do here is as if I'm inserting it, you know, between the last execution and the current line.
It understands the context, which is really, really helpful.
So I can interact with these variables. I could change results before line 34 gets to execute. So that's really powerful.
I see this saving me a lot of JSON stringify statements.
So I don't have to go back and re-execute it if I noticed, oh, if, for example, I had an error on 33 and I misspelled parse. And I noticed over here that I didn't parse it correctly. And I go, oh, JSON parse didn't work. I could say results equals JSON to parse response body, and then continue the execution on line 34, and it would work correctly. So really powerful feature here added. And we will now stop the share and then enter into our Q&A period with Shuvjit and Mudit.
I don't see any Q&A in the YouTube chat at the moment.
Well, we can come up with some because I've got questions.
Okay, go.
I have to think of which questions I have and in what order. So I'll go in the order we did today. So in the VS Code extension, you know, we've gotten a lot of enhancements over time recently. Can you share with us, nothing super secret, but sort of the direction that you see us going with the editor? So not necessarily a list of features, but, you know, like what your vision is for the VS Code editor extension for our developers.
Sure, Andrew. Thanks for the question. So the idea which we have as a team is we want to enable the developers build the ServiceNow application end to end through the VS Code extension, and that is the direction which we want to take going forward. Right now, we do understand we have the extension which allows for the easier scripting for the developers, but again, there is a switch which happens between the extension and the instance, and that is what we would like to avoid going forward. So yeah, the idea is to have an end-to-end workflow through the VS Code extension.
Oh, that sounds cool. So if I'm a, if I'm a pro dev who doesn't want to have to load up my browser to get to ServiceNow, um, for building my application, and I should be able to do, the vision at least is that I should be able to do most of that through the extension.
Right.
I like that idea and direction. Did that give you guys enough time to come up with something, either through the session or the script debugger or the script editor period in the platform or VS Code?
We do have
I
a
had read
Chuck?
about
we do have a
one
question
of the
from chat.
feedback from Mark. It was more around the consistency in the behavior of the editor. So yeah, that is something which I have got feedback from another source also. So we'll surely look into this.
So for the script editor in the platform, do we have some directions and visions and plans around, where we want to move with that? I know like you said, we've got some inconsistencies in which one is present. Are we looking to add, some configuration to that so that I can personalize it, some new features? Again, don't share anything that's, you know how to handle that. We didn't throw up a safe harbor, but, sort of more like the idea of where we're going.
Yeah, thanks for that, Andrew. So I think the idea here is again to give the best of class scripting experience for the users on the editor who are using it on the platform. Uh, so specifically, we have plans around how to improve the IntelliSense, which is available currently on the platform. We do also have plans around how we can basically provide them guidance when they are writing scripts. And I would surely want Mudit to also add his points here.
Thanks, Shuvjit.
Mudit?
So, and a couple of things which we are certainly looking to in the edited area. One is more consistent behavior across the platform. So for that, in Quebec, we are building a seismic portal-based editor. So all seismic portals would be using that editor, so it will be more consistent. So as different portals like service portals and flow designers move to seismic, you will have more consistent behavior across all the UI we see. Second thing which Shuvjit touched upon was you're trying to provide some kind of scripted assisted scripting. So people who start writing the script code don't have to, think or start from scratch or, think about what is that API, how do I find it, how to this dot walking doesn't work, table dot walking doesn't work. So those kind of areas which are really looking to solve in the near future.
Awesome. And when you were talking about seismic, for our customer developers, that when we say that, we're referring to the technology behind Now Experience. So just to translate a little bit there. So that sounds great, Mudit, and I appreciate the thoughtfulness there. So when you're talking about, giving a newer developer some context there, and the features that we could potentially do there, like you said, we could do some better around, auto completing dot walking stuff, and even provide information about, the APIs. So we've got some IntelliSense around some auto completion for some APIs, but what we don't have is like what this API is, like a way to get to its documentation. You did add, and I love it. It's the best. Getting to the script include that's being called is fantastic. I love it. It's the best. So getting to the tables and their definitions, and anything like a script include and its definitions, and you can even load the list from the table. That sort of contextual stuff I know has added to my life. Feedback from Brad or Chuck on that? Like any of that?
No, it's fun just to see what's new and how, like you said, Dave Slusher and I had a discussion on this yesterday. It's reducing those pain points. And when you first come out with something, you don't know exactly where they'll be until somebody actually uses them. So we're listening and addressing.
So speaking of listening and addressing, Brad, go ahead.
I think it was Shuvjit.
We had few more questions here. So one question from Nitin: are these console debugs recommended to be used in production? I do not see any challenge why they cannot be, but yeah, Mudit, you would like to add to that?
Yeah, you can definitely use it in production, but of course you need to be a bit careful while executing any script from the console debugger, because those scripts are executed like any other script. So if you make change to a DB, it actually gets done. So be careful. If I would use in production, I will use more it to get data rather than to change data.
Yeah, I think my feedback is exactly the same as yours, Mudit, is using the script debugger in production, it should be fine, because it's only holding up your individual session thread. So from that sense, it should be fine, but I would stay away from using the console for any database operations at all in production. I wouldn't do any. So that would be my advice to developers.
Same governance or philosophy that you have with using scripts background. You know, if you're not allowed to use it in production, then you're probably not going to be allowed to use the console in production. But there are times when you need to do debugging in production because the production data may warrant that it's a different set of conditions than you have in dev. So yeah, use it cautiously, especially on those write operations.
Yep. So that's a good question. Did you say there was a second question?
Yeah, there are a couple of more. Yeah, so there is one more. Is the VS Code editor plugin using live WebSocket or Signal R type connection to the platform instance to immediately commit changes as you type? I am not sure. So, Mudit, you would like to take that question?
It's not a live interaction between VS Code and the script editor. So it's not kind of like Google Docs where you see one person type and you see another person type. They're not in sync. You have to manually sync them. So when you're done changing in VS Code, you hit the sync button and your changes get pushed back to the instance.
Well, that's true, and the recommended way to use the extension, we do have an auto sync on save feature available for you. So if you wanna directly keep pushing your changes to your instance, you can just choose to do that. But as Chuck rightly mentioned, probably you would not want to do that. You want to push when you want to push.
Yeah, I usually have to be, fairly. It should be a fairly manual mental step to basically equivalent to committing. Like, I'm committing this to the instance when I do this. Like, locally, autosave, sure, knock yourself out. But syncing remotely to the source of truth, yeah, I like to do that with thoughtfulness. That makes sense. So we're wrapping up now. So the last thing I'd like to say is, if folks aren't aware, this team, like others at ServiceNow, but specifically this one, I know, takes feedback from the idea portal and helps drive their changes. Is there anything other than suggesting that they go and engage with the idea portal of how to provide feedback for any of your tools? Shuvjit?
So what we have been doing is, as you rightly mentioned, Andrew, we usually uh, review it on a weekly basis, idea portal. For the VS Code extension, you can use the feedback link, which is present at the bottom of the landing page of the VS Code extension. So these are the two places I would surely suggest everyone to go and write their feedback. And as Andrew mentioned, I and Mudit very proactively look for feedbacks, and we do ensure that we are working on those feedbacks.
Yeah, and I know that at least you have been joining some of the developer meetups, um, and if there's a meetup organizer that has a desire to talk about these things, reach out to our team, and we'll try and arrange someone like Shuvjit to be able to come and have a conversation about that. So shall we rate our beverages? How was your coffee today, Sir Brad?
My coffee was wonderful as always. So yeah, we'll give it a 4. Just
a nice solid 4. Bam.
Do you add anything to your coffee, Brad, or is it just straight up black coffee?
It is just straight up black coffee.
All right. I always like to
That's
know.
why the beard is so long.
That's right.
He's a coffee drinking bearded man.
I don't think you had a beverage, Shuvjit, right? You finished it. But how was your tea? Rate your tea from before the show.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I just relish my tea. So I typically will have 3 cups of tea in a day, and I really enjoy it.
So is it a 4? So out of a scale of 5 in quarter increments, is it a 4? Is it a 4.25? Is it a 4.5?
Okay, because I make it, I will give 5 on 5.
Oh,
Nice.
all the way.
Very rare that we have a 5 on anything. And takes pride in his work. He can.
takes
I made
pride.
it, so I would rate myself 5 on 5.
Nice. And Mudit, how about your beverage? Your
It was
tea.
great. I really enjoyed it. It was much better having with the session. I'll give it a 4.5.
4.5. Nice. And you,
All
Sir
right.
Chuck?
I finished off my licorice tea.
Your
and
licorice tea.
I like taste of black licorice and anise. Some people don't. If it's not your thing, I appreciate that. But I give this a 4.5 also. I
Nice.
just went down easy. I had one last night too and said, because the box was unopened and I said, who got this?
Licorice is a very polarizing flavor.
Like olives. Yeah, people either hate them or they
you're like, yes, this is my place. Or you're like, why does anyone eat this?
when the black jelly beans are left in the dish, they're mine.
And my orange mango water was very tasty and nice and bubbly. So it's a solid 4. So I would like to really thank Mudit and Shuvjit for taking part of their evening Friday to join us all the way from India. We love your team. We love working with you. And I know our developer community really appreciates what you do. Always a pleasure to have you join us, Chuck. And this thanks for all the feedback in the comments. And share your ideas either, as Shuvjit said, on the idea portal or through the feedback and the VS Code extension itself. And we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.